So KPRS is the oldest black-owned uh, radio station, broadcast stations, and they actually KPRS is probably their flagship station, but they also have, like, of course, a gospel station, and then they have like the old folk, the oldie station, so they actually have a pretty wide range. I was raised listening to KPRS, riding around back when before there were car seats for children, and grown folks would smoke in the car, and we would sit in the back of pickup trucks and sit in the back of Brohams, and it'd be KPRS nonstop. And anybody from Gen X and prior to that is going to remember, your mama getting up to clean up, and KPRS uh, playing in the background, the late night slow jams and shit like that. So KPRS is a very, very powerful part of my memory and my lore. So it's black owned, and what stands out to me about it most is that from day one, I remember listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, the soul jams, and the loving music, and when it transferred to playing urban, from going from soul to playing urban and the gangster rap era. Um, NWA with Ice Cube, Poison Clan, and because it was, they would play regional and local artists, Bust Down and all of that. The Girl That I Hate. So it went from a station, and I was there from early childhood to early adolescence, to be a part of KPRS's transformation from a soul and love R&B uplifting station to what we have today with modern radio. But when it really started in the early 90s, to this transition to gangster rap, murder music, degenerate anti-black mass incarceration propaganda. And for many years, KPRS was local activists, local organizations, some that I know and worked with, would start to appeal to KPRS to say, hey, because if you go back to that era, Kansas City, Missouri got the nickname Killer City and State of Misery. And Killer City was because per capita, there were many years where Kansas City was in the top 5 and even reached number 1 in homicides. So it was a bloodbath going on while our black-owned radio station was out there promoting, 5 to 6 days a week, promoting, violence, gangs, drug distribution, and even though there was a large selection of progressive, positive hip hop out there, and positive modern contemporary music, it tended to go where the money reside. So anyway, there was a guy by the name of Harry X. Davison. And Harry X. Davison was a revolutionary Pan-African psychologist, and he wrote a book called Somebody's Trying to Kill You, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And he had talked about, negative stimulation and the effects of the lyrics and stuff. But anyway, he had made a statement at Southeast High School that said, if I had the power, I would shut KPRS down. A KPRS popular drive time DJ came there to give the youth an inspirational speech, and Dr. Harry X. Davison was hired by the school district to come in and deal with some of the trauma and mental psychological issues that come as a result of the rampant violence. And so anyway, with that, he and the DJ were in the same room, and he turned to the DJ and was like, if I could, I'd shut y'all down. I would shut KPRS down. It would go a long way to help with the mental health. So after decades and decades of this ongoing struggle of a black-owned pillar of the community and a wealthy family that's still there on the Carter group, and activists saying, hey, you should do better and be more socially responsible, KPRS announced in 2023 that it would give 12 hours of dedicated time to anti-violence. So it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday mornings. they would have anti-violence content on the station. And I went and looked at KPRS playlist. And of course, the playlist, I didn't recognize any of these face tat rappers. But all the face tap rappers, all the murder music, I had to look at their playlist. And then I went to YouTube to look at the videos. And of course, it's the same shit from when I was a kid. It's the same type of content from when I was a kid. But apparently, I tried to look up. I was able to get an article about the 12 hours of anti-violence music or anti-violence content, and it ain't nothing but ham-bone preachers and have faith in yourself and all. But I mean, I guess it's something. I guess it's something. And if you know what Kansas City is, because the wealth disparity in Kansas City is on some Jim Crow shit. The average median income of a white Kansas Cityan, I believe, is $120-something thousand. In the metro and suburban area of Kansas City is like in the top 4 zip codes for wealth and abundance, especially Johnson County, Kansas. And the average median income of a black family in Kansas City is $24,000 a year, which equates to the average 98% dot something wealth disparities between white Kansas City and black Kansas City. It is literally some Jim Crow conditions in Kansas City that our black elites, our black business owners, throughout my experience of being an activist and an organizer on the ground in Kansas City, that the affluent black people support the status quo. And whenever there is any movements from the bottom, the affluent blacks side with their class interest over their racial interest. And if you remember, Kansas City, whenever it's in the headlines, that young man from North Kansas City knocked on some white man's door and the white man shot him in the head, or Kansas City had a Dr. King Drive. They turned the Paseo Boulevard into King Drive, and there was a petition to take it down because Kansas City was the only major metropolitan area without a King Boulevard, and they had it up, and then there was a petition, and they lined up all the colored folks to get there and say, we don't want no King Drive. What did Dr. King ever do for black folks? So they had a King Drive and took it down. And then they found this obscure Bush Creek Lane, and they just threw the Dr. Kings, and they turned Bush Creek Boulevard, which is this like literally runs along this open sewage line, and turned that into Dr. King Boulevard to appease people instead of one of the main thoroughfares to the black communities. And I think that's it. It's a black-owned radio station doing the same thing all the rest of them do, playing anti-African propaganda for profit. And my other business was Gates Barbecue. I was also raised.
Just before you start that though, just Diallo, just a quick. I just wanted to give you a quick moment, take a breath, and for somebody to interject with a damn, and that's some bullshit, and that's ridiculous. Just to let that marinate, all that you just said for 2 seconds, because that's crazy, and the disparity, the wealth disparity, is crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to before you rushed into the next business, I just thought that needed a moment to breathe and be reflected upon.